Good afternoon everyone and welcome to the first webinar of 2020. It's Mike that's going to be doing today's session, and we have Tom on the live chat. If you have any questions throughout the session, he'll be on hand to answer them. Also be sticking around for a little while at the end, so if you've got any further questions on today's topic, both myself and Tom will be sticking around for a little bit at the end to answer anything you may have. So today's topic and what we're going through is updated voucher codes. So this is something that's been added into the new version, which will be rolling out sort of very shortly and very soon to you guys. So we're going to be covering some new features, getting prepared for that sort of release. So nothing that is in sort of today's webinar it is in the current version that you guys have access to. It's all the stuff that's in the new version. So starting off, what we're going to be covering is the setup, just having a bit of a recap of the setup of the voucher code to the admin, a couple of sort of new features, and then we'll be going through basically a couple of amendments and how they work within the sales order section. So we'll get started. So if we just log into the admin, we've already got it open. We'll show you basically the setup and the new setup. So if we go into the admin, into general, and once we're in here into voucher codes, at the minute we've got a couple set up, and to set up a new voucher we just hit this new voucher button in the bottom sort of left hand side here, and it'll open up, if I just drag this over, this screen. So there's a couple of different options on here if you're looking at this in your own database currently, and there's a few different options that have been added for new features, but it works in the same way. You've got your code, which is the code that if it's on the web store, your customers will enter or you'll identify within the back office. Description of the voucher, so in the background we've got sort of Black Friday offers, free fans, free teddies. You can do it seasonally, so it may be that you give an Easter egg away with any orders. It's just a description of what it actually is, allow you to identify the voucher code more easily and what's actually happening. We've got the types, so we've got fixed value, which it'll give you a fixed value off, say £5, £10, £20, whatever it might be, how generous you're feeling. You've got basically the usual sort of voucher code in a sense of the percentage off, so it's 10% discount, 20% discount, etc. And then the third option is a free product. So as I said, if it's seasonal, Easter, or Valentine's, whatever, you could be giving away a box of chocolates, an Easter egg, a teddy, a fan, anything that it might be. You can use the free product, and basically that will allow you to add a product in here, and that'll be added to the order as the voucher. So you can just select your type on what you wanted to do, and basically with what you select, the options will sort of change and update just below. So if we're going to do a percentage, you can select the minimum order for all three. So you've got to meet this minimum order value to get this voucher applied and to be eligible for it. So it could be, say, you've got to reach £50 in order to have this. The usage count, so basically how many times it can be used per company. So if you only want it to be a one-off, it'll be one per company, and basically that's it. There will be sort of stuff with the usage count that will be added in the future, but for the minute it's just one maximum per company, or however many you select in the usage count. And then the final option is the fixed or discount value. So it's just sort of one number that you put in here. So if you put 10 in, you've got it set as a fixed value, it'll be £10. If it's a percentage, you can just put 10 in here, and then it'll be 10% off, as an example. So the setup is basically the same. You get your start dates and your end dates. So again, if you're working seasonally, if you want it to run up for a week between, say, February and end of February around Valentine's Day, for example, then you can just select the dates from within here when it starts and when it ends. So once that end date has expired, the voucher will be invalid, and so you don't have people using it going on and on and on. So it's just going to be a case that you can select and be specific when that voucher starts and ends, and then you can communicate that with your marketing department or whatever it is that you do to get these vouchers out to your customer. You can sort of communicate that and say, well, you've only got a certain amount of time to use that voucher, so get using it, get your orders in. So a couple of new options in here, which are the new features that we sort of looking to cover today. So we'll explain a couple of how these work, and we've got some examples already set up. So we've got one option here, which the way that it works, it's not necessarily a new feature, but there's been some changes to the way that it works, which is the auto apply to sales order. So with that, you can tick that, and it does what it says. It will automatically apply that voucher to the sales order. Now, if you've got no criteria set, it will automatically add it. If you've got a criteria set, you've got to meet that criteria before it will be automatically added. So that'll make life a little easier when it comes to remembering to put the vouchers on. So rather than you have to remember, oh yeah, you've got to reach a certain amount before I add that, you can basically set auto apply. Then if they meet the minimum order, Prima will recognise that. So we'll show you some examples of that in a little bit. A new feature is restrict to assigned companies, so we'll go on to that a little bit further on after we show you some examples of the auto order. So basically, if you've got one company that has, a specific product that they need to be added, for example, you're always giving them away a certain code that always needs to be on their orders, you can restrict this voucher code to that assigned company. Basically, any order they put on, you could have it automatically apply and give them this free product as an example. You just have to make sure that that company has the voucher assigned, which we'll go into in a little bit. Web store only, as it says, that voucher will only be valid on the web store, so you can stop it from being used in the back office. So you want to use a voucher specifically for web store orders, you want to drive sales on your web store, then that will only be able to be used on the web store. So that's the web store only option. And then finally, you've got an option to exclude direct delivery orders from this voucher from being valid. So if you're giving away £10, for example, then it's going to cost you £8 delivery. You don't want to have a bit of a double whammy with your costs and lose sort of more margin and make no money because of that. So we've put that feature in there as a bit of a safety net for you guys, so you can maintain margin when you're giving away these discounts rather than giving away all of your profit. So that's the new options that are in there. So we're going to go through and show you some examples within the orders that we've got, the vouchers that we've got, then we'll show you how it works with the new features. So an example of the automatically apply, if I go into this summer sort of offer here, now we've got this to automatically apply as well as the free teddy. So the difference between the two, the free fan voucher is a minimum order of £100. So basically, you'll only allow that the fan will only add once that has been met. Whereas the teddy, there is no sort of minimum order. So we'll show you how that will work with the auto apply. So if we just go into Prima, and if we go into the new record, and we'll just create a new order. So search for an account, we'll create a new order. Now, whereas previously the vouchers will have automatically added the line if there was no criteria met. So for example, previously if you've got the auto apply set, it would have applied the line to the order sort of straight away. Whereas now, if you see in the bottom right hand corner, we've got the vouchers button, which has always been there. It has like a 1 next to it. Because we've had one voucher automatically apply. So if I click into this, we can see the voucher at the very top that is automatically applied. So we see that the free teddy has automatically applied. So anything that's in this very top section here is a voucher that's in use. And then down the very bottom, we've got vouchers that are available. Now, the difference with this is you have the option to see when it will be applied. So you can either apply it now, and then it'll add the voucher or make the change sort of there, and then add the discount, etc. to the order currently, or you can wait for it to happen in authorization. So rather than having to remember, you'll build your order and then it'll apply the discounts once it's been applied. So rather than you having to remember to apply them, once you're done, that's when it'll apply the available vouchers. So rather than having to consciously think to remember to add them, it'll just apply as long as the threshold's met. Now, if I go and add an item onto here, and we want to make sure that it's over the value of £100, so we'll just add 50 of these to make sure that it's well over the threshold. Now, what you notice is this one down in the bottom right hand corner has changed to 2 because we've exceeded the minimum value. If we go into the actual vouchers, we've got the free fan. The system's recognised that automatically has met the criteria, and it's added it to the order. So you can set up your vouchers to automatically apply, and as long as the threshold's met, you don't have to worry about it. So that can be for free products, it can be for the discount. It'll just automatically apply and make life a lot easier for you, rather than having to physically remember to add these. It'll make life a lot easier, and then it's just a case of when you authorise the order, any free items, any discounts, etc. will be applied, rather than having to remember. So that's the sort of new way the auto option works, and you've got it within the vouchers section within the order. So moving back to another new feature that is within the admin, within the vouchers, that is the button to restrict to assign companies. So it's this one here. So if I just tick this option, I'll save. That will basically allow us to restrict this voucher code to be used on a specific company. So you've got a company that buys a certain product, or always need to have a certain product, or you may give away a voucher, whatever it might be, but it's only that customer, maybe one of your biggest customers. I don't know. There'll be a case that you'll be able to use that. But say we go into this company, and then we go into the product and pricing tab here. Now, a new button that we have in the right hand side is this option for allowed vouchers. And what this basically does is show us available vouchers that are set to restrict, and then vouchers that this company are allowed. So we can add basically a voucher over, and then that voucher will be allowed to be used by this account. So that voucher will only be usable for those that have it allowed. So you can stop basically anyone just using any old voucher. It'll just be used by those that you actually select. So again, this could be a specific voucher that you only want one customer to use, because it's a free product that's specific to them, whatever it might be. That's what you can have set up. So you can have it automatically apply as long as they're a restricted company, as long as they meet the threshold. So you can properly automate the vouchers to an extent. So as long as they meet the threshold, that's what's given. But even then, if you want to upsell and give them a little bit of a discount, you still have the option of seeing them in there, seeing the available vouchers, and sort of do a little bit more. So you still have the opportunity to upsell and make a little bit more, and push sort of customers over the threshold, if you're going to be building an order sort of there and then. So that's the options that you've got. This is the updated voucher code webinar. There's some new features that are coming in around it, which will make sort of life a lot easier for your sales guys and anyone that uses the vouchers. It'll allow a lot more flexibility. So just to recap, been through the setup of the voucher codes through the admin. So how to set up a new voucher. If we just go into the options to set up a new voucher within here, all different new options which are sort of web store only, the changes to how it automatically applies, you're restricting to certain companies, and then for restricting direct delivery. So they're the new options that are in there, as well as the different way that it'll work. Rather than adding direct to the order straight away, you can either select it to assign now, or basically assign on authorization, so you can build your order and then have the discounts come in. One thing to finally note on that, within the actual order, is you can only assign, if we just go back into here, one discount voucher. So it'll only allow you to use one discount. So rather than multiple discounts, it'll just be one. So that's for either percentage or the fixed discount. You can have as many sort of free products, whatever it might be, but you can only have one of the discounts used. So that's something to bear in mind. But that can be sort of used for whatever. So if you've got any questions, myself and Tom will be hanging around for a little while now. So there's a lot of new features that are coming in here, but this is one of the main ones and something that we're looking forward to releasing. But apart from that, if you want any further training once this releases out, just let sort of myself or the customer service team know. More than happy to book some time in to cover this in a little bit more detail and see some use cases and see if any ideas that you have for vouchers will apply, and see how we can get them working for you. But apart from that, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.